Welcome, everybody. We hope you are enjoying this holiday season. And today, actually, it's tomorrow, the exact time of the full moon. And today we are here to once more the last full moon of the year, the Capricorn full moon, and talk. So thank you so much for being here with us today in this important occasion and sacred. And please welcome Philip, that is going to do the meditation with us and the talk. Welcome, Philip. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Natalia. How are you? And Inez, our co-workers in this in our group, the Aquarian Wisdom Center retreat. I'm just going to talk for a couple of minutes, as usual, just while we wait on maybe a couple of stragglers. But I'm going to share my screen. I assume my screen is visible and the sound is okay.
Yes.
Very good. The keynote for Capricorn is, let me just make sure I've got the right one here. It's not included in this version, but most of us know it. Oh, yes, it is. There it is. Lost to my own light supernal, yet upon that light I turn my back. What does this mean? And essentially, it's the light of the soul that is a much nicer place to be. you could say. And yet, in the spirit of service, we turn our back on that light, and serve with the light within. Essentially, that's one short explanation, but there are other aspects of that that can be gone into. So, turn a few things off here. It's a couple of minutes past the hour, so we'll do the meditation as usual, and then we'll have an exploration discussion on Capricorn afterwards. Bearing in mind that this is a very powerful full moon, taking place just on the tail end of the solstice, the winter solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. Similar to World Service Week, in fact, about in 2018, when they have the 7-year festival of World Service Week for Capricorn in December over Christmas time. So it's been similar to that somewhat this week with the energies. Anyway, let's just settle ourselves and take a big long breath and release all the tension of the day thus far. Preparing ourselves for linking up with many individuals and groups around the world who are all meditating tonight. Just 5.5 hours, in fact, before the full moon at 12:30 a.m. So we're really in a very strong window of opportunity here to serve through meditation. And we sound 3 ohms to align personality vehicles as usual, pouring light through each of the vehicles as we say each ohm or sound each ohm. We see the personality integrated and vivified with radiant light. And through that integration, we see a subsequent alignment with the greater light of the higher self or soul. The 2 orbs of light moving toward one another, mixing, merging, mingling, and becoming one greater light. Soul personality fusion. We can imagine this on an individual scale as well as a group level. With this group tonight and any other group that we are affiliated with, or working together for one common cause around the planet. We affirm the fact of group fusion and integration within the heart center of the new group of world servers, mediating between hierarchy and humanity. We sound the formula for group integration. I am one with my group brothers, and all that I have is theirs. May the love which is in my soul pour forth to them. May the strength which is in me lift and aid them. May the thoughts which my soul creates reach and encourage them. Settling now into the group field, stabilizing, centering, holding the mind steady in the light. Alignment. We project a line of lighted energy toward the spiritual hierarchy of the planet, the planetary heart, the great ashram of Salak Lamara, and towards the Christ at the heart of the hierarchy. And then we extend this line of light towards Shambhala, the center where the will of God is known. Higher interlude. We hold the contemplative mind open to the extraplanetary energies streaming into Shambhala and radiated through hierarchy. Using the creative imagination, endeavor to see the three planetary centers, Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, gradually coming into alignment and into play. And so we reach the stage of meditation, reflecting upon the seed thought for Capricorn. Lost am I in light supernal, yet on that light I turn my back. Lost am I in light supernal, and on that light I turn my back. Let us reflect upon this for 2 minutes. What that means for us, our family, our group. Precipitation. Using the creative imagination, visualize the energies of light, love, and the will to good pouring throughout the planet and becoming anchored on Earth in prepared physical plane centers through which the plan can manifest. And so we use the six-fold progression of divine love as the sequence of energy precipitation: Shambhala, hierarchy, Christ, the new group of world servers, men and women of goodwill everywhere, and the physical centers of distribution. Visualizing the energies of light, love, and the will to good, pouring down those 6 stages. Lower interlude. Refocus the consciousness as a group within the periphery of the great ashram. Then together sound the affirmation: in the center of all love I stand. From that center I, the soul, will outward move. From that center I, the one who serves, will work. May the love of the divine self be shed abroad in my heart, through my group, and throughout the world. Visualize the downpouring spiritual inflow released from Shambhala through the hierarchy, streaming into humanity through the prepared channel, and reflect for a moment upon how these inpouring energies are establishing the pathway of light for the coming world teacher, Christ. Distribution. As the great invocation is sounded, visualize the outpouring of light and love and power from the spiritual hierarchy through the 5 planetary centers: New York, London, Geneva, Darjeeling, Tokyo, irradiating the consciousness of the whole human race. Planting that visualization of those 5 centers firmly in the mind. From the point of light, within the mind of God. Let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Restore the plan on earth. Thank you very much, everyone. Well, welcome everyone. You can see there are people from all parts of the planet here tonight. Great to see. In this powerful Christmas period. And of course, we have here two of the Dutch artist Joffre paintings. One on the left, of course, is Sagittarius, and the one on the right, Capricorn. Sagittarius aims the arrow towards the mountaintop of initiation in Capricorn. The goat, a really quite formidable animal. And there are many different types of goats, of course, from the very small to the very large. And you see them in some of those videos, really climbing very fast up almost vertical faces of rocks, very sure-footed, perched precariously on rocky outcrops with good balance. A really powerful animal that has a great economy of strength and perseverance, and in terms of how it nourishes itself and translates that into energy. Capricorn's quite a magical sign with regard to the ability to manifest spirit into matter, essentially. And we're told by the Tibetan that the glyph for Capricorn has never been properly drawn, because to do so would invoke energies that most people would be ill-equipped to handle. So it's a great sign of power. The first ray of will or power comes through this sign, as does the seventh ray of ceremonial order or magic. It is a magical sign. And it's a sign of the greatest materiality and the greatest spirituality. The mountaintop of material achievement, the mountaintop of spiritual achievement, which of course means initiation into the mysteries. The major initiations we take and the minor initiations that happen now and again between various lives, between various of the major initiations. So a profound sign, and of course an earth sign. That's part of its practicality as well. The ability to manifest things, ideas on earth. It's ruled by Saturn, both at the exoteric and esoteric level, and Saturn rules the throat center, which is the gateway to the mental body. And therefore, the creation of thought forms or geometrical blueprints on the mental plane is the forte of Capricorn, and hence their ability to use those geometrical thought forms, whether they're aware of it or not, to bring to fruition that which they aim to achieve. Hence, Capricorns are very good with money and with making a lot of money. Quite often, you see many of the world's billionaires have strong Capricorn in their horoscopes. So this mountain is the symbol of really climbing away from the lower vibratory activity of the physical plane and up into the higher realms of the higher frequencies, if you like, that will allow you to receive those frequencies. The two-horned goat is a symbol of duality, we're told, and by the time it gets to the top of the mountain, it becomes transformed into the one-horned unicorn, where duality is transcended, synthesis is achieved, and synthesis and unity is achieved. So, and we know these things. I repeat them often in my newsletters and in my talks. They're really some of the essential ingredients of Capricorn. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute, but I'm going to stop this share and go to the book called Light of the Soul by Alice Bailey. And there it is there. And this book is a book on meditation. It's basically commentaries on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, which there are many versions of around, but most of this book has commentary by the Tibetan on the various sutras. If there's one book out of the Alice Bailey series that you'd want to keep, if you're going away on a retreat or something like that, I'd recommend this one. It can be read many, many times, of course, and people have done that. It's really a manual for liberation in many ways, and was given out by Patanjali, who was a world teacher type of figure thousands of years ago, and embodies the science of Raja Yoga, which is the yoga for the fifth root race, as opposed to Bhakti Yoga or devotional yoga, which was the yoga for the Atlantean civilization, and of course Hatha Yoga, which is the physical yoga given for the Lemurian civilization. There's a rough corollary with the yogas and the root races. If Raja Yoga is practiced correctly, then all the other yogas become redundant in many ways. So this sutra I'm going to read here is astrological. It gets astrological anyway. The first part's not. So he says, those who employ the will likewise differ, for its use may be intense, moderate, or gentle. In respect to the attainment of true spiritual consciousness, there is yet another way. It would be wise here to make clear the two ways whereby men and women reach the goal: knowledge of the spiritual life and emancipation. There is the way of yoga, as outlined by Patanjali, whereby through the use of the will, discrimination between the self and the not self is achieved and pure spirit is arrived at. This is the way for the fifth or Aryan race, for those whose function it is to develop the fifth principle of mind, and thus become true sons of mind. It is their part to become the five-pointed star, the star of the perfected man in all his glory. Through following this way, the five planes of human and superhuman evolution are dominated, and Atma, or the will of God, the Father aspect, so-called, stands revealed through the medium of Buddhi, or the Christ consciousness, having for its vehicle manas, or higher mind. So those of you who did our course last year will remember the triangle of Atma, Buddhi, Manas. And Buddhi, of course, is intuition, direct knowledge, which has a lot to do with Neptune and Mercury in your horoscope, two of the main significators of intuition. The other way is the way of pure devotion. Through intense adoration and entire consecration, the aspirant arrives at a knowledge of the reality of spirit. This is the way of least resistance for many. It was the method of attainment for the race preceding the Aryan, which of course is the Atlantean race. It largely ignores the fifth principle of mind and is the sublimation of sensuous perception, being the way of intense feeling. Through following this method, the four planes are dominated and Buddhi, or the Christ, stands revealed. Students should differentiate clearly between these two ways, the way of the mind and the way of the emotion, I guess he's saying here, remembering that the white occultist blends the two, and if in this life he follows the way of Raja Yoga with fervor and love, it will be because in other lives he set his foot upon the way of devotion and found the Christ, the Buddhi within. This is in actual fact the mystical way of consciousness that is achieved before treading the occult path of consciousness. Heart and head. In this life, he will recapitulate his experience as the mystic, of course, plus the intense exercise of the will and control of the mind, which will eventually reveal to him his Father in heaven, the point of pure spirit, of course, is called the monad, which is beyond the soul, the essential essence of ourselves that we finally reach when we liberate ourselves from this earth sphere. Commentators upon this sutra point out that those who follow the method of Raja Yoga and use the will are divided into three main groups. These can correspondingly be divided into 9. Note that 3 plus 9 is 12, of course. There are those who use the will with such intensity that exceedingly rapid results are achieved, attended, however, with certain dangers and risks. There is the risk of uneven development, of a negation of the heart side of nature, and of certain distractions which will later have to be remedied. Then there are those aspirants whose progress is less rapid and who are exponents of the middle path. They proceed steadily and moderately and are called the discriminative adepts, as they permit no excesses of any kind. Their method is to be recommended to men in this particular cycle. Again, there are those gentle souls whose will may be regarded as characterized by an imper, imper, imperturbable, imperturbable pertinacity. That's quite a mouthful, isn't it? And who go steadily, undeviatingly forward, eventually arriving at their goal. They are distinguished by intense tenacity. Their progress is slow. They are the tortoises of the path, just as the first group are the hares. So remember the Aesop's famous fable of the hare and the tortoise. So in some of the old books, there are detailed accounts of these three groups of aspirants, and they are portrayed under three symbols. And bear in mind, we are all aspirants. One, the intense group are depicted as goats, and aspirants of this type are frequently found in incarnation under the sign of Capricorn. Two, the moderate group are depicted by a fish, and many born under the sign of Pisces are found in this category. Three, the gentle or slow group are pictured as crabs and often come into incarnation under the sign of Cancer. Interesting, we've got two water signs here, the most sensitive water signs of the zodiac, in fact, both of them ruled by Neptune, exoterically and esoterically, Pisces, Cancer. And Neptune also has a lot to do with the mystery of Makara in Capricorn, as I state in one of my essays. Anyway, in these three groups are to be found various subdivisions, and it is interesting to note that in the archives of the Lords of Karma, the majority of these three groups pass into the sign of Libra, or the balancers, towards the close of their endeavor. When in incarnation under this sign, they balance the pairs of opposites with care. They equalize their one-sided development, modifying the unevenness of their efforts hitherto, and begin to set an even pace. They frequently then enter the sign of Aquarius and become bearers of water, having to carry on their heads the bowl of living water. Thus, the rapidity of their climb up the mountain of initiation has to be modified, or the water will be spilt and the bowl will be shattered. Because the water is intended to slake the thirst of the masses, they must hasten their progress, for the need is great. Thus, the first shall be last and the last shall be first, and the hare and the tortoise meet at the goal. So, what are you? A hare or a tortoise, or somewhere in between? Crab, a fish, and of course the other 9 signs of the zodiac can be grouped under these 3 headings, and we could spend all night sort of speculating on what that might be. But anyway, that's from The Light of the Soul by Alice Bailey, in the section Book 1 called The Problem of Union. Of course, Raja Yoga, or yoga generally, is about union, of course. Any comments or questions there before I go on? You can put the questions in the chat if you wish. All right. Yeah, try and change my screen. Just a moment. I'm going to do a new share to okay, back here again. And there's an old lithograph of the hare and the tortoise. I think that's a badger overseeing the race. Anyway, great story. And of course, fables and myth are one of the great doorways into teaching esoteric knowledge or wisdom in general. So, right, I was going to come back to Capricorn, another symbol for Capricorn, which I posted on my astrology group and on Facebook today, about the goatfish, a goat with a fish's tail or a dolphin's tail. And this is where Neptune, the god of the waters, comes in, that I touched upon before, and the so-called mystery of Makara in Capricorn. And it's quite a profound um, theme to reflect upon. And this other thing that I want to mention was the fact that the opposite sign, Cancer, which I touched upon before also, is esoterically ruled by Neptune. So Neptune has a lot to do with the Cancer Capricorn axis. Neptune, this principle of Buddhi, it's got, like with all signs and planets, it has different levels of interpretation. The lowest kind of interpretation of Neptune is addiction, deception, confusion. Um, Yet Neptune is also the imagination. It's the creative power of the imagination. It's inspiration, which can be used to inspire others and so forth. And it's the mystery of Makara, which is essentially the mystery of the solar and lunar angels. And here that gets into a very deep esoteric area of the Deva kingdom, of course, the angelic kingdom, the lunar angels that constitute all matter on Earth, and the solar angels, our souls, incarnate in bodies. That's one interpretation anyway. But it applies to the planet as a whole, as above, so below. Anyway, so this Capricorn Cancer polarity is also a conductor of energy from Sirius, the higher self to the solar system. And I've mentioned this a few times in my talks and newsletters as well. Sirius comes through 7 different signs of the zodiac, actually. And Cancer Capricorn is one axis, plus the ruler of Capricorn, Saturn, is in the mix, if you like, bringing through the greater law of Sirius through the lesser law of the solar system, through the Lord of Karma and law, Saturn. And I may have mentioned before also that our evolutionary journey, when we have liberated ourselves from this Earth sphere and become initiated and don't have to come back anymore, that most of humanity will return to Sirius, the 4th cosmic path, as it's called, the Sirian path, and begin another evolution. And so, in many ways, our causal bodies or souls are made of Sirian substance. We have that substance in us that will guide us back to the source. Yeah. So, a very enigmatic sign in many ways. All the signs are when you penetrate them more deeply, because we realize when you study esoteric astrology that the signs are called creative hierarchies. And these creative hierarchies are groups of angelic beings of a different quality, obviously, that make up the quality of the signs. And they are teaching humanity through their influence, through the constellation associated with the sign, transmitting through the zodiac sign, being distributed by the planets in the solar system, and of course we receive the energy at the other end. And we evolve and grow accordingly. And as we grow and evolve accordingly, we unconsciously evoke these solar angels or these creative hierarchies, and they're on a particular evolution of their own as well. And so our humanity's experience is part of their experience that pushes them along their particular evolutionary path. That's the best way I can explain it in a general way. It's something that's always unfolding in my understanding. So quite a profound subject. Now, yeah. So if you want to read the rest of this article on the goatfish, you can go to Facebook or find it on my website. I think it was in last year's Capricorn newsletter, actually. Rather than going through the whole thing tonight. And so I'm going to stop the share and go to a horoscope now. And there it is. This is the horoscope of the new year. Actually, I wanted to get the full moon horoscope. Can everyone see that picture okay?
Yes, Philip.
Yes. Thank you. So the full moon is in a few hours' time, just after midnight in universal time. And before I go on, Heidi asked the question, what happens to a dog that is a double Capricorn? His name is Sirio. Will he become a human being? Quite possibly, Heidi. Sirio, your little Dachshund, Dachshund, I'm not sure how you pronounce that. I'm a bit tongue-tied tonight with all these pronunciations. But, you know, the door to the animal kingdom will not open for a long time yet. So, but everything is harvested. So all the experience of all the individual animals in the animal kingdom, particularly the domesticated ones, of course, who are the most advanced in animal consciousness, that door will open to the human kingdom somewhere down the track again, and they will come in incarnating as your basic human being. And so step up from the animal kingdom to the human kingdom, just as we all have done over an incredibly long period of time and gone through all four kingdoms. In fact, our monads have incarnated in the mineral kingdom, vegetable kingdom, the animal kingdom, and reached the human kingdom. The human kingdom is where the monad becomes liberated, and that takes place through a process of initiation, of course. Double Capricorn. It's a very serious dog. Serious and Sirius, as in the star. So the full moon chart's very interesting. Of course, it's always the moon is opposite the sun. We call it the Capricorn full moon festival, solar festival. A lot of people say, oh, it's the Cancer full moon, which is because the moon's in Cancer, and that's true too. But esoterically, it's called the Capricorn full moon festival, with the emphasis on the solar factor. Solar as in soul, moon as in form, and particularly in Cancer. The moon is the ruler of Cancer. And Cancer is the mother that gives birth to the form nature and nurtures that form, the newborn baby, through mother's milk, protecting it, and so forth. Cancer, the great mother, the mother of the world, in fact. And so Capricorn is archetypally the father, Cancer, mother. And they're both complementary to one another. Capricorn is the hard rock, not the music, but the mountain. And Cancer is the lush valley that flows around the base of the mountain. It's a good way to look at it in terms of the watery nature of Cancer, the receptive feminine quality of Cancer, the intuitive factor of Cancer. When Neptune is working as the astrologic ruler of Cancer, you have your kind of high-grade psychic or clairvoyant. So all the pairs of opposites in esoteric astrology are so important, but also the cross, the three crosses, and which means the other two signs of this cardinal cross come into play. Aries, Libra, and in this particular horoscope for the full moon, we have Libra rising. Libra, the sign of relationships, marriage, the law, sex, money, all those factors. So the rising sun, of course, is the sole purpose of a horoscope. So this particular configuration is called a T-square. You see this red triangle here. It's called a T-square. So it's a point of tension that pushes us to grow, essentially. And so Libra rising here is about creating better relationships. Venus, the ruler of Libra, is placed in Scorpio, a quite intense sign, probably far more intense than Cancer and Pisces as water signs. But it has a higher level too. Venus in Scorpio is about the intuition. We have Sun in Capricorn, of course. We have Mars and Mercury in Sagittarius, conjunct in Sagittarius. Very powerful with regard to direct communication and quite often with Mars in the picture, direct inflammatory communication. So be careful of firing those blazing arrows. They can be too direct sometimes and need a little bit of Libran diplomacy and mediation, moderation. Sun is in the fourth house of this horoscope, which is the home, the family. It's the Cancer house, of course. So it's interesting how we've got the moon in Cancer opposite. And if we're looking at this for the world, then we're looking at the terrible problem of homelessness, increasing homelessness all around the world, in every country. People living in their cars on the street, people losing their homes through war, Ukraine, Middle East, Gaza. And of course, Libra rising is about establishing right relations between nations so that detente and disarmament can be discussed, ceasefires, and so forth. Libra is the peacemaker. So this chart is similar to the New Year's Day chart. You can horoscopes are set up for the first day of January. This is this chart here. I've got it 1 minute past midnight. Okay. So this is also Libra rising. And it has a T-square to it, not from the sun and moon, but from the mid-heaven, public, career, and the fourth house cusp, which is the home and family again. So it's a similar T-square. And we have 3 planets in Sagittarius. We still have Mercury and Mars conjunct because Mercury's still retrograde, about to go direct again. Venus in Sagittarius as well, the ruler of the ascendant. So this chart also is about developing right relationships, particularly with foreign countries. Sagittarius rules foreign countries. And you'll notice there's a big blue triangle in this chart, a grand trine, quite a powerful one between the moon in Virgo, Jupiter in Taurus, and the sun in Capricorn, an Earth grand trine, as it's called. So obviously I'm not going to go through and interpret the whole horoscope, and there can be many, you can ask 10 different astrologers how to interpret this horoscope, and I will give you a different take on it. But certainly Libra seems to be a strong theme during this Capricorn period into the new year. And there are also charts that you can do for every quarter as well, for when the sun enters each quarter of the zodiac, like the solstices and the equinoxes. Predictions can be made from that too. I don't often bother with them because they're kind of a little bit mundane in some respects. So, any other comments or questions, please put them in the chat. We've got a few minutes left before we can wind it up. Feel free to share about the meditation as well if you want to. Any question about that or any experience you want to share? The downward arrow hue is Vulcan. The new symbol for Pluto is the upward arrow. The Tibetan gave this in the 1930s when he was writing esoteric astrology, just after Pluto was discovered. And there's Pluto there in the last degree of Capricorn. We don't have an accurate ephemeris for Vulcan. There's about 3 different ephemerides, but no one's sure exactly how accurate which ephemeris is. But we do know that Vulcan, which is this down pointing arrow here, is about 8 degrees either side of the sun. So the particular ephemeris I'm using for this horoscope has Vulcan placed here. And when you put the 2 arrows together, you get this interlaced diamond shape of Pluto, the energy that rules the base chakra, by the way, and Vulcan, which rules the crown chakra. The 2 arrows meeting in the center of the heart, the 4th chakra, and great symbolism there, of course. Gabrielle says, is Capricorn a feminine sign? No, it's a masculine sign. It's very much a father masculine archetype. Saturn, the Reaper. Cancer's the feminine sign. But whatever sign you have, if you are a Capricorn, for instance, then like with any other sign, the polar opposite sign is very important. Quite often Capricorns are far more in their Cancer polarity. And I know a lot of Capricorns. I've met a lot of Capricorns and have friends who are Capricorns and have noted this over many years. The nurturing factor of Cancer is very strong with Capricorns. It all depends, of course, where the individual is at in their soul evolution. With all the planets and all the signs, there are at least 2 levels of interpretation, maybe 3. Likewise with the rays as well. Anyone else? All right. I think that just about finishes it, I guess. No other questions. So everyone, I'd like to, here we go. One more. Heidi says, where does the laser come from that enters the crown chakra during the night and make vibrate all the cells of the body? Well, the laser, the light, I guess you mean, it comes from the soul, I'm sure. Yeah, from down the sutratma that is anchored in the crown chakra, consciousness thread, as it's called. That's a good note to finish on, I think. Hope everyone's having a great Christmas break. And of course, we're in the 12 days of Christmas. which culminate on the 6th of January with the Epiphany. And so wishing you all some good epiphanies between now and then. And I'll hand it back over to you, Natalia. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip, so much. Thank you, everybody. Happy continuation of happy holidays, everybody, and see you soon in our next full moon meditation in 1 month time. So bye for now. Thank you again. Have a blessed night.